Welcome back to all you tombstone tourists out there. And before we get spooky tonight, please leave us a rating or review. And share the podcast with someone who would like to get creepy cozy too. If you want longer, more in-depth stories, check our new spooky store. The link is in the show notes. Feel free to find us on Instagram or buy me a coffee to share your ideas and get a shout out. This month's was inspired by a listener of ours named Carly. Thank you for the idea and for supporting the pod. And thank you to all of our listeners. We appreciate you. This is a story about a ghost ship at Spooky Cove. It's also a story about relaxation and releasing any negative energy. You will get to meet the crew aboard the ghost ship and hear their tales of years past. You'll see the unusual waters of Spooky Cove and will be replenished and renewed by the experience. Regular deep relaxation, including sleep meditations, can increase overall well-being, having an accumulative effect over time, giving you a calmer and clearer state of mind. So, with that in mind, we're going to start by taking a deep breath to the count of 4. And then exhale to the count of 6. Completely relaxing. Repeat this a few times before returning to your natural breathing pattern. You let your body sink into your bed. You let the day's troubles go. This is your time to completely relax. On your evening stroll, you find yourself walking amongst palm trees, and there is the smell of sea salt in the air. You follow what looks like a well-worn path, but there is no one else around. In the distance, you see what looks like a clearing. 2 palm trees bow towards each other, creating a sort of exit into somewhere sunny and shimmering. You head towards the archway created by the palm trees and step through it, intrigued as to what you might find. In front of you is an expanse of beach. There are black rocks in the distance and birds flying overhead, making soft cawing noises. You feel the balmy sea breeze on your face and hands. Beneath your feet, sand glitters and shifts in a pleasing way, and there are seashells scattered around, kinds that you've never seen before, pink and purple and black, opalescent and shimmering. You see a wooden post knocked into the sand that reads, Spooky Cove. And just behind the sign are 2 palm trees gently swaying in the balmy air, and between them is a hammock. The hammock looks well used, but you don't see anyone else around here. It's completely empty and quiet. And the only thing you hear is the gentle noise of waves as they lap against the shore. You walk to the sea's edge barefoot, and the warm, glistening water covers your toes. As you touch the clear blue water, any negative energy from the day is taken out with the tide. Any ties to old beliefs or anything holding you back has gone, and anything that has been draining your energy is also gone. You are filled with a fresh, new purpose. You know that you are completely safe here, and that every cell in your body is being relaxed and renewed just by being here. In the distance, you see something on the horizon. It could be a ship, you think, but it could also be moonlight and vapor. And as it moves closer, you see it does in fact have sails and a large mast. It heads in your direction, cutting through the water. Even though the sails are not catching the wind, and it stops just as the water becomes shallow. You can't see anyone obviously on board, but you step out into the ocean and walk towards it. The water is shallow for quite a way out, so by the time you've reached the ship, it is only just past your ankles, lapping you with warm water. You look up at the weather-beaten wood of the ship and see just how long it must have been out at sea. There are bunches of barnacles and strings of seaweed all over. Right in front of you there is a large ornamental figurehead of a mermaid, with meticulously crafted scales and long flowing hair that appears to shimmer in the last throes of sunlight. Just then, a ladder is thrown over the side of the ship. Someone aboard must have seen you and is beckoning you to join them. You step onto the ladder, taking your time to slowly ascend. You see apertures where cannons would have been, speckled with seaweed and other debris from the briny depths. And there are portholes that are hard to see through. But you can just about make out warm flickering lights inside. You reach the top of the ladder and step out onto the deck. There is no one to be seen. It must be a ghost ship, you think. And the sails hang high above you, silvery and tattered, and on the main mast high up, there is a lookout point, otherwise known as a crow's nest. You think you can see something moving up there, catching the remaining glints of the sun, but you can't be sure. And the wood of the ship is pale and weather-beaten, gnarled with age and use. There are large spherical glass lanterns adorning the deck in all different colours, from green to blue to purple. In the light of the lanterns you start to see what can only be described as spirits. And the spirits are those of the crew of an old pirate ship, lost out at sea many, many years ago. They look like their former selves, but slightly more see-through and nebulous at their edges. They beckon you further onto the ship and are keen for you to explore it. You feel completely safe and know that they mean you no harm. And the ship is somewhat shabby now, but you can see the faded grandeur from years gone by. There are ornate carvings in the wood, and at the large helm you can see the ghost of the captain standing proudly. The captain gestures to the crew, and then begin to busy themselves to set sail. The ship sets sail as the sun finally slips beyond the horizon. But here, out at sea in this magical place, the sunset is a profusion of silvery lilacs, violets, and airy blues. They create kaleidoscope patterns in the sky, almost like fireworks. You watch, knowing that you are witnessing something very special. As the colours dissipate in the night sky, they are replaced by a pewter moon and bright stars which give off enough light to guide the way. You also know that something else is happening, and the sea is becoming brighter. You notice that you can see right down to the seabed, and that it is filled with blue, luminescent seashells, as if the sun has been charging them up all day, so that they can glow brightly through the night. There are also what appears to be glowing lilac crystals that look amethyst, known to help you relax and have a restful sleep. You can't believe you get to witness such a wonderful sight. Just then, you are called out to the captain's cabin, where a table is laid out before you with all kinds of food, platters and bottles and flagons. There are gold plates and crockery shining in the candlelight. Even though the corners of the room are filled with dust, cobweb chests and boxes, this part of the room is perfectly inviting. Everyone is now seated at the table, and you can see them more clearly for the first time. The spirits are an unusual bunch, some with bandanas around their heads or scarves around their necks. Some with eye patches or scars. Many wear golden jewellery and linen collarless shirts with hard-wearing wool jackets. And the captain sits at the head of the table, in their luxurious long red coat and felt tricorn hat, watching the crew with a grin as they took into their nightly feast. After food, the crew tell you stories of their adventures on the high seas during the golden age of piracy, and delight in having a new audience to share their stories with. Tales of plundering bullion and jewels, coming into contact with sea creatures that most people think only appear in fairy tales and legends. From hydras so tall they reach to sky, and islands filled with mer people and treasure beyond comprehension. And, maybe most importantly, how after their human bodies had departed this world, they now sail the oceans as guardians of the ghost ship. Listening to their stories and hearing the waves lap against the ship, you start to feel tired, and you feel that you could fall asleep. One of the crew from above the deck comes to tell the captain that land is in sight, and we are very nearly back at Spooky Cove. As the ship returns you to shore, you feel completely restored, and the spirits are so happy that you came and shared this evening with them. You set foot back on the sand and make your way to the hammock, where you know you can sleep undisturbed until morning. You clamber into the hammock, where there is a pillow and a blanket waiting for you. You get yourself into just the right position for the best night's sleep you've had in a long time, and slowly let your body sink into the hammock. You are lulled into sleep as it very gently rocks back and forth, and you listen to the comforting sounds of the waves. You are completely safe here at Spooky Cove, and it is the perfect place for you to sleep tonight. Thank you for joining us this evening, Spooky Slumberer. Until next time, sleep well, and don't let the bed bugs bite.